there's a reason for certain things.
Right.
It was meant to be at this moment and time for maybe not me or you, but somebody who's listening, that they needed the inspiration to read this book at this moment, and that this is exactly what we were supposed to do in this moment for ourselves or someone else.
Hey, besties.
Hi.
Welcome back for another episode of the Hello Bestie podcast. I'm Maggie.
I'm Tashima.
All right, book club besties, let's get into it.
Yep.
This week we are discussing The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. So this is a pretty popular book. It's basically about a young man's journey trying to find some treasure, and he learns some life lessons along the way. So this is a very popular book. What would you rank this book? How many stars on a scale of 1 to 5?
I would give it a 5. Just in terms of it being one of those books that you can read many times throughout your life. It's very timeless in that way because it's not a new book.
Right.
As long as the book touches you and moves you in any way forward, that's a 5. What about you?
Awesome. I would say a solid 5 too, for sure. It's something I'll read over and over again, and a story that I feel like I could read to my kids as young as they are, and something that they would appreciate as they get older. Timeless, like you said. As far as the ratings, so you and I each rated a 5. Amazon rated it a 4.6, and Goodreads rated it a 3.9.
Interesting.
So one of the reviews says, whenever I felt lost, depressed, sad, numb, conflicted, frustrated, exhausted, I get this book into my hands and follow the journey of young shepherd Santiago, who is looking for a worldly treasure. As like T.S. Eliot says, the journey, not the arrival, matters. Someone else said, the problem with this book is not just that it's bad, which it certainly is, but that there are so many people out there who want to corner you at parties and tell you how it's totally changed their lives. In a way, you might as well read it just so you can see how feeble-minded they must be to get any kind of philosophical nourishment out of this inexhaustible stream of cliches. Harsh. So, getting into it, we're like, it's a 5.
Those are the kind of people where I want to know the things you would consider good. Like, I really want to know, what would you give a 4 or 5?
And, like, how many books have you written?
Yeah.
Also, I think there are people who make a career out of trash talking others' creativity, which is wild. A good quote on the back of the book is, to realize one's destiny is a person's only obligation, which, you know, you and I are into the universe and crystals and signs and things like that. So I like the way that this is a self-help book, but it's told through a parable or a story. It's not woo-woo and here's what you do to improve your life. If you're paying attention, there are lessons to be learned.
You follow these 6 steps.
Right. It's not like that at all. Do you believe that people have a personal legend?
So where they say personal legend, I would say like a path. I don't, like semantics. But yeah, I feel like everybody has a purpose, and some people's purpose is a lot more grand than others, but there is a purpose for everyone in whatever way that may be, and it could be something very, very small.
I agree with that. I think that's a fair way to say it. I think a lot of people get under the impression that if they don't become a celebrity or, well-known, world-renowned, then they haven't fulfilled their destiny. Right. And that's just not it. Sometimes it's about helping people. Sometimes it's about being the nice person in a room full of horrible people. Sometimes it's just about, I think everyone has a purpose. And I do think that is life's journey, is to have people figure out their purpose.
And sometimes I think it's not clear to everyone, and I don't think it's revealed to everyone what that purpose is. Like, it could be something as simple as you're in the grocery store and something happens, somebody, their bag of groceries falls on the ground and you help them pick them up, and then in the process you have an exchange of words, and something so simple to you of just helping this person and, making a joke where you may have quoted something that you read, but in that moment, that was everything that person needed, that then altered their path. So that's why I say, like, no matter how small, I don't think we always understand what our purpose is because everything is so interconnected. So I could have served my purpose in many ways where I've touched people that have led them on a path that they're supposed to be. You know, like in the book where he kind of meets these people along the way. Everybody's path was to be another rung in this journey while they're on their own. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Okay. I like that. Because I think what you were saying could have been interpreted as, and maybe what I said initially could have been interpreted as, maybe your purpose is just to be nice. Like, you should be nice, but that's a small piece of your bigger destiny.
Correct.
And what you just said really broke it down very nicely, whereas we are all on our own journeys, and sometimes on your way to your journey, part of your role is supporting someone else in their journey.
Right. And if you don't
unbeknownst or not,
your part to follow your path, that then alters the course of other ways. Like, had somebody not chosen to be a camel driver, could have altered the story in a way where he never ended up where he was supposed to because of this one thing.
Right.
So like a butterfly effect.
Yep. Yep. A quote that I really liked out of there was, when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. And I do think that there is some truth to that. There are things that I can recall in my own life where maybe I'm thinking of giving up on something, or I've been trying this and maybe it doesn't. And then all of a sudden something will happen, and that's my way of the universe telling me, like, no, don't keep going. You know, like the universe will throw you a bone sometimes is what I'm saying, to kind of, or sometimes you're trying to close a door, or trying to keep a door open that the universe is trying to shut, rather. So I think the older we get, we become more in tune with that. And then it can help us guide our steps a little bit better. Or some people are better at navigating that at a younger age. Everyone's journey is different. It just depends. Yeah. And
it depends on your life experience. Like that quote, I'm not going to quote it verbatim, but we've talked about it, where the man is in a boat and he's praying for help, and God sends him, like, he keeps getting this help, but he's like not understanding that the things that are coming to him are actually,
it's not
the prayers being answered
the way he thinks it should be coming. So
so he dismisses it, and he's not taking his blessings, even though he's like, God, please help me. And he's like, hello. Like, I am. I think that's a very similar of, like, we're not always willing to accept it in its packaging.
Right.
And what you're talking about reminds me of another book called Let Your Life Speak. I don't remember. I think the author's last name is Palmer.
Let Your Life Speak.
Yeah. Okay. And he talks about where, like, when you're a child, you kind of have this idea of, okay, I want to be a writer when I grow up. But then over time, different influences like friends and family and school and money and bills all start to kind of take you in a different direction. And for him, I want to say it was this book, like, he ended up going, like, he thought he was going to be one thing, but then on his journey, like his spiritual journey, he ended up like in a completely different path, which he acknowledged was his original path.
Parker Palmer. Yep.
Yeah. So it's just like, you have to be willing to accept it regardless on if it's what you want or not.
Right.
You know, so you may want to be a famous singer, but that may not necessarily be your path.
Right.
You know, so it's like, those doors aren't opening for a reason, or it didn't turn out the way you wanted because that's not really where you're supposed to be.
It reminds me a lot of our discussion about the Midnight Library. You know, the character in that book, she had the pleasure of, I don't know if I call it pleasure, but she had the opportunity to basically see what would have happened if she chose each of those options. In real life, we don't have that. So it's just a matter of navigating it. But yeah, maybe you didn't get what you want, but it was probably the best thing for you.
Right.
Do you use a system of signs or omens to help you tap into your own guidance system? Or do you just go off of feelings, or what system do you use to make the decisions that you make?
I don't think I would consider it a system, but I think most of it is just like intuition. I'm an overanalyzer by nature, so there probably are a lot of times where I've done something or not done something because I've thought about it and researched it to death.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time it came to it, I was already like, eh.
Yeah.
I'm already exhausted and I haven't
Mm-hmm.
even done the thing. So a lot of times it's just like my feeling, or there have been times where I have turned to prayer or, sought guidance from people who probably have a lot more experience and wisdom in this particular area or
Mm-hmm.
can see more clearly from the outside.
Right.
So I guess all of those things, but um, I don't know if omen is the word that I want to use
Sure.
in the way that it probably is referenced in the book.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think I've had that.
That's fair. I would agree with that a lot too. Definitely turn to prayer. Definitely ask for signs. I also pray when I ask for a sign that I will see the sign and that it will be clear to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the example that you just gave too. Sometimes
Yeah.
it may not always come in the package. So
Mm-hmm.
please open me up to receive it and know what
Yeah.
it is when it comes.
Exactly.
Also, please send it.
Yeah. Please make it neon so that I
Right.
can see it from the moon.
So there is
Because your
no
girl is
mistaking.
hard-headed. She doesn't listen very well.
I need this to be crystal clear,
Yeah.
not left to interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, consulting people, like family members or friends or
Right.
who've been there, done that kind of situations, or from the outside looking in, like, check me on this. Am I wrong on this? And people who care about you will be honest with you when you ask for it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you have to make sure that your circle is strong and solid.
Also, learning from previous lessons is important.
Mm-hmm.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. So while you may encounter different situations, take life lessons that were learned. And I think that goes into the intuition.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a heart thing.
Yeah.
This feels like the right decision that I should make.
And also sometimes your intuition will tell you, nope.
Yeah.
Everything about this, like, I don't know what it is, but I have a feeling that this is not the direction that I need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Even it may be tempting.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in me right now is being like, mm-mm.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's okay. Most of the time, I'm a firm believer in following your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to allow that to lead you.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if it's, I heard somebody say one time, either it's going to be a lesson or a blessing.
Yep.
So even if it's a lesson, you will have gathered more wisdom in your decision making moving forward.
Right.
So follow it one way or another.
Can you think of a time when pure expression of enthusiasm, or like basically just having a positive attitude and working really hard, got you to success or something that you wanted?
I wouldn't necessarily say enthusiasm,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say in terms of like work, getting to where I am took a lot of hard work and perseverance and learning things the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I'm pretty self-aware and I do a lot of reflecting.
Mm-hmm.
So with all of those things, I tried to make sure that every time I fell, I was learning from that experience.
Right.
And I don't like to keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to make sure that I take a mental note to do or not do this thing again. And then basically doing my rights, my lefts, my straights based on past experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that really answers your question.
No, it does.
Oh, okay.
It does. That's fair.
Okay.
I mean, the example I would give is work related as well.
Mm.
I think coming into a company or any place of work and having a positive attitude, working hard, learning the ropes, and then excelling, learning how to do your job and then how to be the best at your job has gotten me a lot of success. And on the other front, I've been in situations where I haven't been enthusiastic and haven't really believed in what I was being given. And not to say that I worked less hard, but any kind of hope of moving forward in those situations, if I don't have that, I know it's my time not to be at that place anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Just complacency can really
Yeah.
set in, and that's a major fear of mine, is just getting stuck somewhere where I really don't want to be
Hmm.
and remaining in that place because it's easy. That's also why I really like the example in the book of him getting to the crystal shop.
Hmm.
I felt like that was necessary,
Yeah.
and it taught a lot about, even when you're on your journey, there's going to be these pieces. It's a steady climb up, even if you feel like you're just being.
It may feel like a setback.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So with that, I am a firm believer that especially when it comes to stuff like that, everything happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So it may not be very clear to you in the moment why this thing did or didn't happen that you wanted or didn't want so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But with time, hindsight is 2020. It will come to you, it will be revealed to you when it's supposed to, why this thing happened
Right.
the way that it did. And when you have that time and that distance, it can just be so like,
Mm-hmm.
because and it may be the promotion that you really, really wanted, and you worked so hard and you did the overtime and you smiled and you this and you that and you were a team player and you didn't get it.
Right.
And it went to the person who you felt like didn't deserve it.
Right.
But then fast forward however long,
Mm-hmm.
may not be 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, but at some point in time, you'll have that opportunity to realize that had this thing been your thing, you wouldn't be where you are right now. And where
Exactly.
you are right now is so much better than where you would have been.
Exactly.
So you can be disappointed and just don't let it discourage you.
Right.
Because it happened for the reason that this was not on your path,
Mm-hmm.
but the learning lesson from this experience is supposed to push you towards where you're supposed to be.
That was an important lesson too, because it's like he risked it all.
Mm-hmm.
Kept having this recurring dream. I'm supposed to go to Egypt and to the pyramid and find this treasure. Let me go check out this fortune teller, see what she's talking about. She's like, yep. But if you find it, you got to give me a little piece of that. You need to bring me some money. Then he sells all his herd, goes, gets ganked, gets robbed like very early on.
Mm-hmm.
And just in a real life situation, imagine giving everything up and then having everything the money that you just got completely taken from you. A lot of people would give up.
Yeah.
So I like the way that it had things like that happen. And when he got to the crystal shop, it really felt like this is real life. You get to a place to where you're stagnant, but it's necessary for you to be stagnant right now.
Because there's something to be learned and gained from this situation.
And you're teaching this other guy, the crystal shop owner, who had higher aspirations, but at some point he started making a good living and being complacent. But it's, I think a lot of people get to that point sometimes. You make a decent living, you're able to vacation once or twice a year, you got a little bit of money saved, and
don't want to rock the boat.
You aren't hurting anybody, and you aren't going without. You're not rich, but you're not living on the street either, and this is enough. And I think a lot of people just figured this is enough, and they kind of stopped working towards higher things. So Santiago coming to his store was a big thing for him too, because he helped it grow, and showing how to take risk and lead to some different results for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think him, like how he ended up at the crystal shop, when we have these setbacks in life, it's easy to really get down. And I'm not saying with everything that we're talking about, that doesn't mean in the moment I'm not down.
Correct.
I'm not disappointed, frustrated, cursing the gods of why. But again, with time, you have clarity.
Mm-hmm.
But for him, like, you could argue this would never happen in present day, couldn't it though? Like, all he did was lose everything and then go somewhere and say, hey, I'll work if you just simply feed me.
Right.
And from there, proved his worth. He was there for like a year and some change, where somebody else will feel like we're so focused on the end result versus the journey.
Right.
So when we're looking at this thing that we want to get to, and for example, Santiago's treasure, he didn't look at it as like a finish line.
Right.
because it ultimately wasn't a finish line.
Mm-hmm.
It was the journey along the way of, okay, I'm here right now, and I'll be here until I no longer need to be,
Mm-hmm.
and I am going to allow everything to tell me when that is.
Right.
And it requires patience. You
Yes.
know, like if you try to force it, you will end up in a situation where you do end up with a setback.
Mm-hmm. So I have from this website, let me look it up here, Corey Wilkes, psyd.com, where he discusses 11 lessons from The Alchemist, and I'll go through a few of them. The first being, as we get older, we're told it's impossible for us to have what we truly want. So we bury our dreams deep down until we forget about them. Obstacle number 2, love. How often do you hear people claim they travel or take more risk if they weren't tied down with a family? Most people would rather never try than risk failure because once you try and fail, it's hard to rationalize why you failed. If you never try, it's easier to claim you never cared about it or that if you really wanted it, you could do it. So what's worse than the fear of failure? Obstacle number 4, fear of success. Sometimes we fear success because so many others have failed. We feel guilty and selfish for achieving success. It's like survivor's guilt. We survived, we succeeded when so many others haven't. Why us? Why not them? This one resonates with me, not a fear of success, because obviously, like, I really want to be successful in life, but kind of like back to the mediocrity thing. You know, I have a good life. I have a beautiful home, steady income, savings, beautiful kids, healthy kids, but I still want more, obviously. So sometimes I have to really check myself because when I start feeling very complacent, my inner voice, I start dogging myself out internally. You know, what could you be doing different to help you
Right.
reach your dreams? And look at the time you're wasting on this, and that could be better spent on this. And I really start getting down on myself. But then I have to remember there are people out there praying for the things that I have. Not just materialistic things, but true friends, a loving family. Like I am so rich in those things, it's not even funny. So, um, yeah, I guess I have that guilt sometimes. Like, okay, yeah, it's cool to want more, but you really need to chill out because life could be a lot harder. So shut up your crying and just suck it up, you know?
Yeah.
Things I have to tell myself. So there's lessons too. So lesson number 1, complacency kills, which we've talked about already. Lesson 2, everything and everyone has a purpose, which obviously we opened with that. Lesson 3, everyone has a personal legend, but most give up on it.
It's hard not to get distracted.
Lesson number 4, you control your identity. You can handle more than you give yourself credit for if you're willing to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important to remember. We really don't know how much we can take until we're actually tested.
Mm-hmm.
But with those tests comes a lot of pain and heartache and
Sometimes.
And there's a quote from there. I'm alive. When I'm eating, that's all I think about. If I'm on the march, I just concentrate on marching. If I have to fight, it would be just as good a day to die as any other. Because I don't live in either my past or my future. I'm interested only in the present. If you can concentrate always on the present, you'll be a happy man.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, just some lessons, food for thought. I know you said that you had some quotes that you wanted to.
I do. It is the simplest things in life that are the most extraordinary.
Facts.
Everyone seems to have a clear idea of how other people should lead their lives, but none about his or her own. And that one I felt was like finger snaps.
Say that one more time.
Everyone seems to have a clear idea of how other people should lead their lives, but none about his or her own.
Facts. I wrote that one down too.
I was like, ooh.
People can always look at somebody else and tell them what they should or could be doing.
Yeah, like
so what you got going on?
Like the saying, it's easier said than done.
Yep.
That one I was like, ooh yeah, girl, you need to chill. Everyone has his or her own way of learning things. His way isn't the same as mine, but we're both in search of a personal legend, and I respect that for him. Or I respect him for that. And then I also wrote down the same one that you said about living for the past.
Yeah.
Like you live for the present.
Yeah.
So I like it. I don't think it's like, I don't know, for somebody to say this is a terrible book, I think it's just, I guess it's strange to me.
It's a short book. It's a quick read. I mean, it's not
It
like you
basically says
wasted.
you have to put in the work.
Right.
Like, how could you think that this is a terrible book? It basically is putting the responsibility on you to put in the work to attain your own goals.
Right.
And not to lose sight of that. I don't know.
And
It's so
sometimes
weird.
what you're looking for is right in front of you, but you have to
Mhm.
go through some things first to actually really
Yeah.
see it there and notice
Mhm.
it for what it is.
Yeah, I thought it was a good book.
I thought it was good too.
And I can
Um,
see myself when I'm feeling lost. There's just a few books that I've read that I feel if ever I'm in a position where I feel like I'm in a rut, stagnant, you can pick up one of these books and just be reminded of, okay, let's refocus.
yeah, yeah. I thought it was good. So yeah, I'm glad that you liked the book. I was interested to see what you thought about it because sometimes we talk a little bit about the books, but we
Mhm.
really didn't at all about this one. This is the first time
Yeah.
discussing it, and I know I've been kind of saying it's a good book. It's a good book. You should read it. So I'm glad that you liked
No,
it.
I did. I enjoyed it.
Awesome.
And sometimes, there's a reason for certain things.
Right.
It was meant to be at this moment and time for maybe not me or you,
Hmm.
but somebody who's listening that they needed the inspiration to read this book
I
at
agree.
this moment and that this is a this is exactly what we were supposed to do in this moment for ourselves or someone
Look at
else.
you tying it in. Okay, I like that. So
I
check it
can
out,
get deep.
besties.
All right, besties. Well, thank you so much for joining us. As always, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell an auntie, tell your nail lady. Hello, besties is where it's at. And we will see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.